Good evening. This is Rahul Magan here as a Group Chief Executive Officer, Treasury Consulting, and also a venture capitalist. As we speak, Treasury Consulting is a multinational headquartered group based out Singapore. We are a multinational hedge fund who take active positions in US, Europe, and Asia Pacific region. Having said that, we are a proprietary hedge fund. By proprietary, I mean no third party. So whether you are a venture capitalist, you are a private equity, you are anyone, you cannot invest capital in our fund. We are 100% proprietary hedge fund. You know that effective 24th February 2022, when Russia invaded Ukraine, I am continuously tracking that on social media. I am tracking the videos, I am tracking the information which is coming on good platforms like Al Jazeera and all. I am tracking other information which is coming on the social media. Every day I spare almost 30 minutes on the Russia-Ukraine war. And now I need to spare more time thanks to China-Taiwan factor. That is another problem. Anyways, today when I was doing my research, which is 6th August 2022, I got some information from YouTube which is scary. At least scary to me, might not be scary to other. Then after having this information, I checked the international media, and unfortunately the international media is silent. Now, before I share this information, let me give you a backdrop why this information is scary. Russia invaded Ukraine on 24th February 2022. Precisely 5th month is done and we are into the 6th month of the war. My personal estimates suggest that this war would continue even in 2023. The reason being, winters are coming. So as we speak, we are in August. European winters, since both Ukraine and Russia fall in Europe, European winters started somewhere October, you can say, which means that both countries have maximum 1 month as far as the preparation of winters is concerned. Because effective October, the winters will start in Europe, which means that for Ukraine as well as for Russia, both have 1 month to prepare. When I'm using a word prepare, I mean to say that the clothes of the soldiers, I would say the food and the different kind of artillery, because during summers and during winters, artillery differs. Example, tanks. The tanks which both sides are using, Russia as well as and Ukraine, some type of the tanks from the either side are not capable of basically not effective during the winters. So when it comes to the clothes, when it comes to arms and ammunition, when it comes to the artillery, both countries needs to adapt according to the winters. To me, the problem is more for Russia than to Ukraine. The reason being, Ukraine already lost about 35% of their territory. And this is as per Google, as per various international websites. And we all understand that during war, the biggest important thing we need to learn is the data mismatch, because the ground reality is always different as compared to the internet. So if internet is saying that the Ukraine lost around 35% of their territory, practically it means it is more than 40% of the territory, which is called estimation error. Russia already got some strategic locations in Ukraine, which includes the power plant, the electricity plant, the steel production facility, the wheat facility, and their army is trying to consolidate their position. In terms of warfare, consolidation of the position means you will not let this position go out of your hand, irrespective of what is going to get happen. Which practically means that Russia needs a humongous soldiers. Humongous soldiers means a good army to consolidate their positions, because Russia is moving further and the Russian target is Kyiv. Although Kyiv is little far, that's a separate thing. That if Belarus would be opening their border, because Belarus is more or less an Russian ally. So if Belarus would be opening their border, in this eventuality, we may see Kyiv to fall much earlier than anyone is anticipating. But that completely depends on the Russian tactics and the approval of the Belarus to open their border. But the problem which Russia is facing is the manpower. According to the public information, so when I say public information means it is on Google and all. According to public information, around 42,000 Russian soldiers died during the war. This is the preliminary data which is coming up in the public domain. No one is sure how accurate is this data and what is the authenticity of this data. No one is sure about that. But according to public information, around 42,000 Russian soldiers have died. Now Russia needs a manpower. Very quickly and urgently, they need a manpower. And the problem with Russia is they cannot let their spare forces to enter in Ukraine. Now, what is the definition of the spare force? In any country of the globe, whether this is India, United States, Europe, China, any country, you have an army. Basically, you have the defense forces. Defense forces divided into three parts. Number one, Navy. Number two, Air Force. Number three is the land army. In all three, there is a spare force. Now, spare force depends upon the country budget and their vision, how envisaged they are, that differs. Spare force means, God forbid, if all doors closed, there is a huge mess, country is in big trouble, then this force is asked to step in during the war. In information technology, this is called bench. But in army or in war or in defense, this is called spare force. Russia also have a spare force. Ukraine also have a spare force. But as we speak, even after basically closer to the 6th month of the war, no information we have in the public domain which can confirm that both countries are using their spare force. So, which practically means that if no information, it means Russia is not using the spare force. Now, this week, the week that went by, last week you say, Russian President Putin had a word with Kim Jong, basically the dictator of North Korea. And you know how good is the relationship of North Korea and the US. They both are enemy number one, right? In this eventuality, Russia is asking North Korea to send them 100,000 troops, which they would be sending to Ukraine. So, in practical terms, if I speak, Russia is taking the help of Ukraine as far as 100,000 soldiers are concerned. Of course, the world is like accounting, debit and credit. North Korea is getting the grains, the wheat, and the energy supplies. By energy supplies, I guess they must be getting natural gas, they must be getting oil, because Russia is flooded with natural gas and oil. This is what Russia can give even free of cost. So Russia is getting 100,000 trained soldiers of North Korea. I don't know how accurate is this, but according to the Google sources which I did today, North Korean army is considered as one of the trained warfare armies in the world. The artillery systems of North Korea is considered one of the best artillery systems we have in the world. And there are special troops we have in North Korea who are designed to handle the ambush kind of warfare. Remember the US-Iraq war? One of the biggest problem for the US Army during US-Iraq war was the ambush style used by the Iraqi army or whatever the people who were fighting against the US. If North Korea to send 100,000 people plus whatever artillery, arms, ammunition and XYZ with them to Ukraine on behalf of Russia, practically means that the world is divided into two parts and the beginning of World War III. Because currently it is a dispute between two countries. One is Ukraine and one is Russia. Yes, I completely agree that the NATO, the Western nations, they are sending the weapons, arms, ammunition, MLRS, multiple launch rocket system, HIMARS, and all these to the Ukraine. But unfortunately, these weapons are unable to make any difference for Ukraine, and this is a practical problem for Ukraine. But none of the NATO countries, US and Western countries, sent a single soldier to Ukraine. They not send any soldiers to Ukraine. So practically speaking, the manpower hasn't given. It is only arms, ammunition, weapons, all these things which were given. But if North Korea would be sending 100,000 troops to Russia, which Russia would be sending to Ukraine, in this eventuality, it is the beginning of World War III. Practically, the world would divide it into two parts, into two factions. One, US, NATO, West, Ukraine. Here, China, North Korea, Russia, probably Turkey and other countries. Please keep a watch on that. I'm keeping a very detailed watch on each and every information which is coming in the public domain about the Russia-Ukraine war. To conclude, I feel that if these kind of stories would continue to come, then we are not far from the World War III. We rather getting closer to the World War III. Because a dispute in 2022 February started between two countries, Ukraine and Russia. Now slowly and eventually more countries are joining this dispute. This is Rahul Magan from Treasury Consulting Group. You knew my personal number 9899242978. 9899242978. Guys, do remember that many international channels are silent on the Russia-Ukraine war. But that doesn't mean all international channels are silent. There are many international channels, YouTube platforms, those who are actively doing reporting on Russia-Ukraine war. Choice is ours if we wish to have an updated information or we don't wish to have an updated information. This is Rahul Magan from Teshi Consulting Group. Have a great time ahead.
We'll be right back.